Are you struggling with flares from your autoimmune condition and you're taking prednisone for it and you're wondering, how much do I take now that my disease flared? That's a great question, and I'm Dr. Megan, your prednisone pharmacist, here to answer it. And before I do, I just want to make sure that you understand that this is not medical advice. This is just general information about what to do with prednisone doses. And this question was inspired by Prednisone Warrior Kim. Now, Kim has a disease called polymyalgia rheumatica, or PMR. And this condition is very sensitive to inflammation changes. And so here's her question without further ado. Could you help with more inflammation on flares? I started with 20 milligrams, got down to 12.5, had a sinus infection, and the PMR flared. Rheumatologist said, go back up to 20, and then a week later, go to 15, and then a week after that to 10. I'm on 15 and I'm sore in the same areas as PMR, my hips and shoulders. It's hard to get an answer from the rheumatologist and my 8 minutes of a visit. I'm trying to figure out, is it best to ride through the flares and stay at a lower level of prednisone, or go up to the last dose that was effective, get rid of the inflammation, and then start tapering? I know you can't give medical advice, but I'm confused as to what to expect during a flare-up and not sure where to go for reputable information. Thanks. Also, I'm on your supplements, and they really do help with the side effects. Thank you for developing these and helping all of us that are on prednisone. So Kim basically poses a question. Do I ride through the flares, or do I go to the last dose that was effective and get control of the inflammation? So that's the question. Ride through it or last dose. Now, when a doctor is prescribing prednisone and giving what is called a taper, when they're saying go at 20 this week, 15 this week, 10 this week, a taper is as much an art as a science. And when the doctor throws out these numbers, they're kind of just making them up. And there's not a lot of science showing, oh, you should definitely go from here to here to here to here to here. And so when that doctor says, just do this and this and this, that's their best guess. Every single person is different when it comes to their body's response to prednisone and how quickly they can taper off. That's because prednisone affects up to 2/3 of our genes. Mind-blowing, right? And so if every person has different genes, then every person is going to have a different response to that 2/3 of genes that are affected when tapering off. So when she's wondering, do I just ride through the flares? I don't think you actually can ride through the flares of PMR. I don't think that's even a possibility. I think you either are suffering pain and inflammation and an inability to function in life. And for PMR, that means having incredible shoulder and hip and other pain that makes it so you can't even lift a cup to your mouth or latch your bra or do other things that you need to do in life because the disease is active and causing so much pain and inflammation. So I don't even think that's a possibility when it comes to PMR. And the doctor probably didn't have time to cover that in the 8 minutes they had together. But what is the principle for nearly every condition when it comes to prednisone is to get on the lowest effective dose and stay there as long as is necessary. And usually that means take the lowest effective dose for the shortest duration possible. And that's the principle published by the rheumatologists, the doctors who prescribe prednisone the most. When it comes to PMR, that lowest effective dose is whatever dose you stopped having the shoulder, hip pain. And then for PMR, you should stay on it for quite a while. And there's my little doggy. And that means for PMR, some people suggest, some doctors quoted in this book have recommended to stay on that dose for a year. A year. I don't know if I fully agree with that, of having a full year at the lowest effective dose. I think trying to get to an even lower dose is probably a good strategy, especially when Kim said that 15 was still not enough. And I think trying to get to 15 or below would be a good goal. But going back up for her to whatever dose was still effective, I think would make a lot of sense. And then trying to get to 15 and staying there for a while. And that's essentially what she said. Go up to the last dose that was effective, get rid of the inflammation, and then start tapering. That's exactly what I recommend. Go to the last dose where you felt okay. Stay there for a while, get that inflammation under control, and then start tapering. And it's always a question of benefits and risks. Now, the benefits of taking prednisone for people with PMR are amazing. Being able to move again, being able to do anything and not have pain is fantastic. Whereas the side effects can be incredibly extensive. It can be anything from osteoporosis, heart disease, insomnia, weight gain, moon face, diabetes, and on and on. And so you always want to find the best balance of benefits and risks. And in her case, she knows the benefits, but she's also worried about the risks. Those risks can be very complicated, and she is doing something to make sure that she's minimizing those risks. And that is giving back what prednisone is stealing. Prednisone is stealing nutrients from her body, and that's what's causing osteoporosis. Prednisone steals calcium, vitamin D, vitamin K, magnesium, and other things that make it so her bones are being depleted, and she's at more risk for fractures and losing height from compression fractures of her spine. And so she needs to give back what prednisone is stealing. So when she gives back what prednisone is stealing, that brings the balance of the benefits that she knows are fantastic into balance with the risks. And one way to do that is to give it back by taking Nutranize Zone. Nutranize Zone is designed to replenish the nutrients prednisone steals so that you can minimize the side effects. So you can get the benefit that you absolutely need and minimize the risks so that you can get the right balance. Because no one wants to be stuck on prednisone for a year or 2 or 3 because the PMR may take that long to get under control. And then be also multiplying the risks of treatment, because the longer the treatment, the higher the dose over time, the more risks there are to the eyes, the heart, the lungs, the bones, and on and on. So just get Nutranize Zone to help minimize those risks. You just go to Nutranize.com and you take 2 in the morning along with your daily prednisone dose, and then 2 at bedtime to help you get restful sleep at night. And this is exactly what you need to help you feel like yourself again while taking prednisone. Signing off is Dr. Megan, your prednisone pharmacist.